Welcome to day 2 of our first look, and we have something very, very special for you today.
We have sets, two different sets of stamps, cutting dies, and embossing folders.
And I don't think we've ever seen those together. And wait until you see what the design team has done. Come play with us. And here they are. Now this is all about carnations.
Right, this is our first set. We're going to have a second set.
Yes.
Just beautiful. You have beautiful carnations. It has with love for you and happy birthday all in a stamp set. And then you have the matching cutting die set for the flowers and for the leaves.
And a beautiful embossing folder. Now, to put these together and to let you see them all together, this is what they could look like.
Isn't that beautiful?
I think it's stunning.
So
I really
you've
do.
got that embossing folder used out around the edges. You've got 3 of those gorgeous flowers, and you can see the cutting dies actually cut little areas of those petals. And don't worry, they do not have to be matched up perfectly. They just kind of work any way you put them on there. But I just think that's beautiful. I'm going to start with, I'm going to let you go through showing this card in its entirety.
Well, I wanted to show you with the embossing. Okay, you're going to do the technique of the embossing folder.
I just thought maybe you want to pop the card up and
okay, this
show
is
the
an
card.
easel, and it goes like that. So the happy birthday for you.
So super fun. It's a nice big card. This is a 6" by 6" card. You could definitely do this on a 5" by 6.5", a smaller card. But
very pretty.
I liked using that embossing folder in its full size, which is the 6" by 6".
Yes.
So here we go with Pastel Cardstock. Great thing about Pastel Cardstock, it has a white center core. So I ran this through my die cutting machine, through the embossing folder, and then I get my nice little sanding block and I just start sanding. Doesn't really take very much, and you're going to get just those raised edges, just sort of keep going back and forth until you get a nice white look. When you're all done, you're going to get what that looks like on the entire card.
Oh, so easy and oh, so lovely.
Right. And then you can start working on those carnations. So I actually cut 3 or 4 of those carnations out of white cardstock. I have one here on a light gray that comes with the kit because I just wanted to show you what it looked like. But here I have one sitting here, also on gray, because I started out on gray and then I switched to white, so I had the gray one sitting around. So I actually used repositional adhesive after I cut it to stick it on here, because I'm going to be able to pick that up and move it later. I've got my stamping platform, and I used Distress Oxide inks because that gives sort of a soft look on there. I've got picked raspberry, and I'm going to use that right on the bloom, so up around the top. Something I found out when I was doing this, you know, I kind of want to make sure it's only on the bloom, it's not on everything else. You know, you can sort of turn it over and see where you're inking it. You might not be able to see that, but I can see right through. Oh, okay, right there. I'm doing a good job. So I've got the
good for me, huh?
Right, and then I've got the green down below on the stem. Nice thing about a stamping platform is you can do it several times over and over until you get it stamped just perfectly. And that matches up perfectly with that die cut. And I would, you know, keep inking and stamping until that was
the gray you need to do a little bit more, don't you?
Right, and I would do that a little bit more, but here's the one that I already, that I finished. And then I used one of the cutting dies, and let me show you. One of the cutting dies has all of these cut areas on it, and I placed that back on here after I stamped it. So now it's got, and if I show you the back, now it's got all of these cut areas on there. And I started just with my fingers and nothing else, picking each one of those up and just sort of going up, going around,
just to give it that dimension.
Just to give it a little bit of dimension.
And I have to say, when I saw the photograph of the cutting die, I didn't see those lines or really understand what it would do.
What that was for.
But it does a nice job.
And when I place that cutting die on here, the cutting die that you use for this, you only place it on the flower part. And I thought, oh no, I have to match it up perfectly, but you really don't. When you set it on, you'll sort of see the shape of the flower, and you just sort of generally put it on there, and it is no problem, very easy. And then you just spend a little bit of time picking those up all the way to the center, and when you're done, I actually foam tape them in place. You don't have to, but it gives you a little bit more shadow behind.
Very pretty. And you made a bouquet with 3 of them.
Right.
And then these ferns are part of also the cutting die, and I like how that's kind of an evacuated one.
And this one too, it has a nice little area in the center, and just really fun. And then I used embossing powder here to give it just a little bit of shine.
I like the that black against all the light pink. I think it does a nice job of For You and Happy Birthday. Very fun to have this going at an angle and foam taped up to hold our top.
So really pretty. I used the pastel cardstock for that card as well, and creating an easel card.
Now folks, this is why you like having a design team at your fingertips, because look at this. This is gorgeous and wonderful. This is gorgeous and beautiful and so lovely.
It's just striking.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to bring in the cutting dies, because what you're seeing on the center of that flower, these 2 cutting dies here are meant for layering. So you can cut them out and then you can just start layering these pieces.
You know, and it's so easy to miss those details. This was done with the Wow Red Glitz embossing powder, and it was just wow.
Yeah, it just pops, and it's on vellum. So I actually stamped and embossed all of those, including the one in the back, on vellum, and I chose not to cut out the flower this time in the background. And I've just laid that vellum on top of the indigo lace papers, which there are a lot of grays in there. So I stayed away from the blues and just stuck to the grays.
Now I love the red ripple holographic in there, just
a tiny bit.
Yeah, just a bit. And then as I open this cutaway card, there it is on the inside, slightly at an angle.
Right.
Just lovely.
And I thought it was really fun to add the rhinestones, and they come in 3 different sizes, the rhinestone bling, so really pretty. But I do want to say something that I found out. I placed that rhinestone on there, on the center of this carnation, and then I thought, you know, I don't know, carnations don't really have a center like that, so I decided to remove that. And when you do the embossing, the embossed areas come right off with that if you're taking that off of vellum.
So on second thought, it was a good idea to keep it there.
So we just left that there. And it looks really pretty there.
I love it. This is really pretty, just going over the top of it. And everything in red, even the ribbon.
Right.
Just quite lovely. Excellent.
Very pretty.
And then, if pink and red aren't your forte, how about yellow carnations? And that's what's fun about carnations. They can be any color, kind of like daisies.
Yellow carnations, and on these Color Me papers, colorist papers. So pretty. And Debbie also cut out some of the papers, the chevron part of the papers, and she colored in just some of those areas with Spectrum Noir or Distress ink. You can do that with Distress ink too. You can use, you can press the pad onto a sheet of plastic, and then use a paintbrush to pick it up and paint it. That's one way to do it, or just use Spectrum Noir pens. And then she colored these with the Distress inks. After she stamped it, she went back and picked up some of the ink with just a cosmetic wedge and just sort of inked around to get a little bit more of the yellow. And then she went to the Nouveau crystal drops, and this one is, I think it's called White Blizzard, and she just sort of spread it around there. You can use your finger or a sponge to get that beautiful glittery look.
You can see the glitter there. Very pretty. Very nice. And it is a nice complement to this large photograph, because that's doing a great job, and it just kind of extends her happy birthday bouquet.
So I could see this with really any layout. This could be a wedding photo, and these could be some nice pink carnations or something like that too. Any color you like.
Okay, now we've explored a bit of carnations. Now we're going to go into violets. Now, I do want to say that carnations are the flower for January, violets the flower for February, but that doesn't limit them to those months or those birthdays.
You can use them anytime. And again, we have the 3 sets: stamps, cutting dies, and an embossing folder. And in this case, you've got a large cluster of those violets and lots of different smaller violets that can be stamped, and with the leaves, and of course great sayings on here too you can use year-round. and used in combination with the cutting dies, which are going to do just really fun things with those images, and that beautiful embossing folder.
In fact, here is everything all together. Again, the embossing folder along the edge here, it gives you 2 corners and then connecting frames, and then the collection of that beautiful violets in the center.
Right, and Debbie started by stamping these on white cardstock. You might be surprised
Really?
to know that. The background was definitely embossed on a patterned paper, but so it was embossed, and then she did a little inking over those, lots of inking, really. What I really love is this. So this, I'm pretty sure, is a holographic paper. She just cut the strips. Sparkles. Unless that's from the, I bet that's from the Dazzles. That's from the edge of the Dazzles sheet. There we go.
So these are the gold jewel Dazzles. So there's a little bit of 1/4 of an inch, so you can cut those into strips and use them.
And she just placed those between the 2 lines that are on that embossing folder that it creates.
Clever.
So that is really sweet. So once she had this large piece cut out, then she was able to go in and go ahead and do inking all over it, knowing that she was also going to cut out these pieces and do them individually and place them, and you can line them up. They have matching images, and you can just start stacking these pieces. But before you stack them, you can shape them. And while we do have this great shaping kit, so we've got all of these different styluses, you can just take that and press it into those flowers. What Debbie did is actually, she said she did use that, but she just picked one up one at a time, and instead of using this over the entire piece, she just pressed it in the center. Whoops, it pops out of my hand. Pressed it into the center and then just folded the petals up just like that.
Just to give it some dimension.
Pressed it down like that, and it just forms it into kind of a cup shape. Nice. And this was after she did all of the inking, and then she just zotted those or glued them in place. And you can see the lift that it gives on each one of those.
So coming back to this card, you can see very, very pretty. And on the inside, just a corner of the embossing folder and giving you birthday wishes.
Separately, so that's a nice look. Sweet.
Nice way. Now, there it is in purple. Violets, like many other flowers, come in lots of colors. Look how pretty this is.
So very pretty. And again, so we've got this in pink, but she actually stamped these onto patterned paper. That pink that you see, most of it is from patterned paper.
Right.
Rooted in Love, I believe, is this.
This is the marble looking paper, right? Excellent.
Pink marble on there. But in this case, she's got the background that she went ahead and die cut it first without using the large stamp set, and die cut it so that with the second die cut that will actually take lift up these petal pieces. Then she lifted them up individually and inked them just a little bit. So you can do that, but she also die cut the separate flowers, and in this case they cut this center piece, so you're able to really sort of shape these up or lift them separately and really ink them and get some fun dimension with those.
And you can make that fill the card as these two have done, or you could do a corner. And you do have the leaves, which are also evacuated.
They are separate, right, but they are separate, so you can do a background and then lay that on top.
Very nice. And then she's got some sequins in the center there. And then on the inside, just a little treatment, and then some extra stamping onto that marble Rooted in Love.
And the birthday wishes comes, and the Half a Beautiful Day, both from that stamp set.
Now, as I said, both of these have really filled the card beautifully. And look at this. Oh, so pretty. This is back with just the embossing folder.
Right, so pretty. So
gorgeous.
With this one, I'll let you open it up, because that's just so pretty on the front and on the inside.
On your special day.
Just using parts of that embossing folder. And that starts with a 6-inch by 6-inch piece of paper, or cardstock. So I've got the black cardstock here. So this is the size. You're going to put that into your embossing folder, and when you're done, you're going to get one piece. I know I've got it in 2 pieces, but you're getting one piece like this, then cut it corner to corner. So now you've got that beautiful edge shape. And Susan cut along the lines here. It's hard for you to see this. and along the edges of the leaves, so that she could get like get the detail of those leaves all along the edges. But she also used Nouveau Embellishment mousse, and this is a nice pink variety of it. I'm going to open this up, and you can use, it does come with this foil. We try to keep it on there to keep it nice and soft. You can use a sponge to lift that out of there. At this moment, I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger, get a little bit of it on my finger, which I'm doing just because we're on camera, and and then you can just start putting it right on top of it, just lightly going around and hitting just those raised images, just like that. So that's just really simple, and just do it in layers, just kind of keep going, and you see as I do that, it's going to keep adding more color on there. And then you can do the leaves, you can do in a little bit of green, but very beautiful look. Really simple to do.
And very striking on that black with, and the birthday wishes being stamped up there. And as we showed you on the inside. So you can have your violets in large clusters or in small accents.
Very easy to do to get some really different looks, and 2 separate sets.
I do have to tell you that quantities are limited, so I don't mean to scare you, but I also don't want you disappointed, because you know how to reach me and you talk to me. And thank you for joining us today on our day 2. We're going to have lots more goodies all week. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you then.